Today on the show, we conclude John Carney's musical journey of films with his first film, Once. All this and more on What the Hell Did We Just Watch? Welcome to another episode of What the Hell Did We Just Watch? I'm your host, Lumotional Lou. How's everyone's week gone? I hope it went all right. Happy weekend, everybody. Now, I'm just going to start it right off. This film this week was a pretty amazing one. So it's called Once. It's the first film by John Carney. We started with Sing Street. Then we went to Begin Again. Now it's to the beginning. Once.
Who'd you write this song for?
She's gone.
She's dead?
No, she's not dead. She's gone. You don't want to go for a late coffee or a walk or something, no?
I can't. Sue, my father used to play in the orchestra back at home.
Guys, good to meet you. Have you done much recording?
No.
Now, I said that this was the first film by John Carney, but that's not entirely true. This is actually like his second or third film, but this is his first film where he started kind of like in this journey where he felt like he had something or like he had an idea and he wanted to really go with it. And that idea was a story about a musician who's singing, he's got some original songs, and then all of a sudden he gets... he meets up with this girl that wants to know the meaning of his music, of his songs, the songs he's written, which they are all originals, and it's a pretty interesting journey. That's to say the least. As you heard in that previous clip, the girl asked him, "Who is the song about? Who are you singing about?" And he says, "She's gone." And she's like, "Well, what do you mean she's dead?" And she goes, "No, she's not dead. She's just gone." And the music is important, as it was in Begin Again, and also, especially in Sing Street. It touches you, man. Like if you were paying attention to the words of those songs, those songs just have a lot to say about what's going on to our character who goes by Guy. Believe it or not, we have two characters. We don't even know their names in this film. And if you look them up on IMDb, their names go under as Guy and Girl, which is pretty hilarious. One of the things that just blows my mind is how great the songs are. John Carney, I don't know what you're doing, man. You could be writing some music or at least helping, someone become famous. Well, they are, I'm not even going to front. They do. I did look up some of these people and they are musically inclined and they have business in music and they know what they're doing. John Carney's amazement to me and how upset I am that I didn't even learn about him until now. It's just pretty crazy. You know what I mean? So this is why this is the segment. What the hell did I just watch? Because that's one of the things that I forgot to mention. This is a what the hell did I just watch on what the hell did we just watch? And going on to what I was saying is that he just touched me. I don't understand how I understand how I feel. It's just I don't understand why it took so long for me to see this guy's movies, but third time's a charm. I got a hold of the film Sing Street. I wanted to see Sing Street when I saw it, and I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, but I bought it immediately on Blu-ray because I wanted to see it. I didn't realize it was this person that made it, but third time's a charm. It's the third film he made that is about music, and look what it did. This is what happens when I enjoy someone's films. I actually want to see a vast majority of that filmmaker's work, because I just, to do something so beautiful and so brilliant and well written, it deserves my attention for the time being. It deserves my attention to watch and to listen. And this is me doing so and thanking John Carney for making 3 pretty amazing movies. Like I said, but like all the other ones, you need to love music in order to watch these films. You need to understand the art of writing lyrics, the art of writing music, and the interpretation of those things, because they dictate what all these 3 movies do. Now, in the film Once, like I said, you got this guy, he's singing in the streets for money. He has another job with his father that he fixes vacuum cleaners, or as they call him in Ireland, hoovers. They call him hoovers over there. He spends his private time singing music. And like he says, this girl he meets in the street, she says, "What else do you sing?" He's like, "How come I never hear you sing originals in the morning?" He was like, they won't give me money there if they don't listen to the pop stuff. At nighttime, nobody cares. So he sings all the original stuff at night, and that's when she got to hear it. Now, like I said, this film is pretty amazing. It touches you. I understand what he was trying to say, and bravo on this kind of gun-ho independent film that he made. And I'll get to what I mean about that in trivia time. This is the film. Once is the film that literally describes what this show is about. It's spreading movie awareness to myself, and hopefully spreading movie awareness to whoever's listening. If you have not seen this film, I highly suggest that you do. If you love music, even more so. You know what I mean? So, I think it's up there with Amadeus or Immortal Beloved. These are musically made films. Even That Thing You Do, I highly recommend as well, because it all factors into all that. But what's the difference between what John Carney does is that lyrics play a big role in this film, especially in this film out of the other 2, because in the movie Once, this is his shortest film. It's about 1 hour and 26 minutes. So take away the credits, about 10 minutes of it, and we got ourselves about 1 hour and 15-minute movie. Now, this film actually has barely any dialogue. There are any conversations. There aren't many conversations happening between people, but we're observing. We're observing what's going on in the scenes, and we're observing with music in the background. And he's got some really amazing shots, very amateurish, but they still pack a punch. One-shot takes of performances, literally singing in the film, which I really, really loved. It wasn't dubbed or overdubbed. They really sing in the film, and that's just amazing. There's very little to say even in musicals. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I was telling her, yo, this film is very raw. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I was telling her that this film is independent. You can tell it's independent. He's shooting from a distance, so that means he's not shooting with a permit, because no one films that way, and no one chooses to film that way. So you can tell that he did that. You see a lot of shots, especially in the beginning of the film, where it's shot from very far away. It's shot from a huge distance away, where it doesn't look like it's being filmed professionally. And, you do that on purpose when you don't have money, so that doesn't, that's just the way it works. No permit equals that's the way you make a film. And this film is, I believe it should be for any aspiring filmmaker. If you wanted to film, if, you think outside the box, sometimes you can't film the way that you want to. So you try to work around it. And this is John Carney trying to work around, the film. And for some reason it works. It helps it. It's a little bit out of context, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's just because it's been a long time since I've seen films like this, and this is one of the times where I guess it was just maybe watching his films backwards from his most Hollywood looking film to his least very Hollywood looking film that I think is what changes. But like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen a film like this, probably even like 10 years ago, because this is when this film came out. It came out 10 years ago, and it was 2007, something like that. And I haven't seen a film like this, to believe it or not, since the late 90s. I think Darren Aronofsky's Pi was the last film that I saw that was like this, where it was like without a permit and walking around and just shooting, hopefully you don't get, get anybody upset that you're filming. So those people are being filmed in the film once, and none of those people are stand-ins, so there you go. But like, that's what I'm saying, spreading myself movie awareness, and I'm hoping that I'm spreading it to you guys, because this film and all his other films, Begin Again and Sing Street, are highly recommended. I do highly recommend watching those films. If you want to watch something that is musically based and how music moves people, the words of music move people, this is your bread and butter. This is the bread and butter of all these films. It's beautiful. Now, I just want to take this time and have a little conversation stimulator moment right now and talk about how being honest in music, in lyrics, and how that helps you out in your films. One of the things that I love about our character Guy is that the music that he writes, though it's a general thing, it's not pinpointing anybody to who he's talking about, but that they stem from a person, from a personal life. And I've always been a sucker for films, or music, I should say, about those kind of things, where there's this kind of like deep-rooted reason why the song exists, or even a film exists. Believe it or not, there are filmmakers that write out of honest moments in their lives, and how that brings people together, and relate to that stuff. And that's what this film does to me. I can relate to sadness and despair in relationships, and when things don't go your way, and people break up, whether if it was for a good reason or not. And music is what helps us, in therapy. If you're a listener of music, it's a therapy. If you play, even better. It's even better therapy. It's like a punching bag for musicians, But one of the things that I love about this film and the Begin Again and Sing Street is that John Carney's cure for therapy is saying fuck it and let's form a band, for lack of a better word. Let's form a band, and that's the therapy for all of them. And one of the things that I love about this film, and especially the other two, is the fantasy that endures in this film, and in all three of them. In all three of them. One of the things that upsets me and also makes me happy is that things happen to these singers out of nowhere. There's basically bad luck after bad luck. That's one of the things that all three characters kind of have in common. But for some reason, when it comes to music, everything just seems to go their way for them in the film. And that's the part that's the film, because he hits you with this kind of like reality, and then also fiction stuff about what happens. And let me elaborate on that. In this film once, there's a moment where they want to get a loan for £2,000. And in that film, they get it through the banker. They try to get a loan through the bank for money so they can get into a studio for studio time. And I don't quote me on this, but that just seemed ridiculous to me. And I mean by ridiculous is that there's no way they're going to get any kind of help from a bank to give them, studio time. That just doesn't make any sense. And what happens when they're there, they're asking for the money. The teller, the guy that works there, he's silent and like listening. And then he was like, oh, so you want to record, right? Yeah, listen to this. And the singer just comes out of nowhere, and he has a guitar and he starts singing a song badly, but he starts singing and he expresses his love for music in the film. And after he plays, he signs them the money to get the loan. And I thought it was a sweet scene. It was funny. But it's also a scene that it's very unlikely. But I think that in our minds and in our hearts, if we want to create something, me as a filmmaker, I think like that. I would love to go to the bank and ask them for a loan so I could shoot a movie. But I know that I wouldn't get it. That's just the reality of it. And that's just the way it is, but what I love about this film is that just for one moment, and that's where I feel like the title of this film comes from, once, for that one moment, he is getting everything that he wants. What he could not get before for whatever reasons, he is getting it now.Maybe it was through the inspiration of this girl who helps him play some of the songs, who duets with him into some of the songs, he wrote a song, just music, and he told her to write it. And she wrote her own personal feelings. She put her own personal feelings in the song. There's this beautiful scene where it's a one-shot take where she goes buys batteries for a CD player so she can hear the song. And she starts singing it walking home, what she wrote. And I thought that was a great scene. Again, it's that raw, shitty quality film that just seemed to work. It felt, it looks home video-ish, but it stands out way more. And it's the music and it's the actors being believable. And I love that. So, but that's one of the things that I love. And at the same time is like, damn you, I hate you, because these things wouldn't happen as much as I would love them to real life happen. I don't think that people can get so lucky, or at least that strand of luck, with things going your way when things don't go your way. Or maybe I'm wrong. It's just me thinking of the moment, but that's what happens when I talk too much about films, and those kind of ideas. These were the things that were going through my head as I was watching the film, and I'm enjoying it. Don't get it twisted. But because like I told you, I was laughing at the banker. I was even laughing and being loving in the moment where, this girl, she says that she goes to this music shop to play an instrument because she can't afford a piano, and the owner lets her play whenever she can on her break from work and all that stuff for an hour. And as much as I love that, that's just bullshit. As much as I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be bullshit. I want people out there that can't afford things to be able to express themselves, for free, need being, from a very generous, person to say, hey, you want to come into the store? I'll let you play. I know you can't afford anything, but I'll let you play. So, and they play and they get their feelings out. They get their moments out. She gets to, get through musical therapy of herself. And I love that, because there was a scene when they were singing this awesome song, which by the way, I bought the soundtrack again. Like, without even thinking about it, I bought the soundtrack. It's brilliant. It's amazing. So they're playing the song. They're duetting it for the first time. She just kind of jumps right into the lyrics of the song while she's playing piano and he's playing the acoustic. And at the end of the song, the guy that owns the shop, he just has a smile on his face, because music makes people feel amazing. So stop being so miserable. And if you are miserable, listen to some music, but the right ones, man, the right ones, the ones that are supposed to like touch you in your inside, no pun intended, but they're trying to get you in there. You know what I mean? They're trying to get you in the feels, in your heart, and that's where music belongs. In my opinion, I believe that that's where it's supposed to go. So like I said, hey, if there are people out there that get that kind of good luck, please let me know. Just comment below. And I would love to hear any of your stories of like amazing things that happen. I think that we as people deserve to feel that way and to know these kind of things and say, hey, that's not true, man. Like, there's this guy that lets me play music in his store all the time because I can't afford a said musical instrument or anything for that matter. So, hey, I want to hear that stuff. So if you can, just put it on the comments below on my social media sites, YouTube, it doesn't matter. I want to hear it. Email me if you want it to be private. I want to know it, So I think that I've talked way too much about the film once, and my personal feelings about what's in the film and what's in all of the films. As much as I love it, I can't help but to hate it, because it's the imaginary world that we all wish that we can live in, that we don't, and that we can't, because people are very different. But why don't I just go into some trivia time with Once? Because I found some really cool stuff, and I thought it was very fucking interesting and awesome, and it meets people's expectations. It didn't meet my expectations, but when I read it, I was like, God damn it, man, that's fucking awesome, man. And one of my favorite ones that I found that I thought was great was that Steven Spielberg was a big fan of this film, and he said, "A little movie called Once gave me enough inspiration to last the rest of the year." How about that, man? That gotta mean something, right? You're a small time filmmaker, and your little film makes its way to Steven Spielberg, and to quote the film like that, you know what I mean? He doesn't know you, he doesn't know anything about it, but he was a film watcher. That's what he was. He was a person that saw a film and that was able to express himself, and the media actually record what he says. I think that is just amazing. Now, the guy that played Guy in the film, his name is Glenn Hansard. Sorry for the butchering. And the girl that was in the film, her name is Marketa Iglova. Sorry for the butchering. Now, what's pretty fucking cool is that after this film came out, Bob Dylan, he was also another big fan of the film, and asked if they can sing with him on a song. Yeah, You Ain't Going Nowhere. That Dylan song they covered. They covered it on stage, in 2007. That's awesome, man. That again is like one of the things that I love talking about, is when you hear like celebrities become fans of something or be inspired by something, that you have the power to pull them out of wherever they are, and they get to do things like that. You know what I mean? Look at that. Things can happen. People can be fans of something, and then you can help create something, and help them get exposure. And now I know why this film, I heard about it and the popularity of it, and one of the things that, if you didn't know, is that this film became so popular, and somewhat famous in its own right, that it became a Broadway play. You can see this on Broadway. They're actually all over the place. So you can look it up on Ticketmaster, once, or you can go to the website, that it is a musical, which my girlfriend and I, we're trying to make sure if we can get a show nearby, but just waiting to see, because we live in the New Jersey, New York area, but there isn't anything playing. The closest thing is Connecticut, but I don't know if I can make myself to go all the way out there anytime soon. But hey, I'm looking forward to watching it when I get a chance, and let's see what happens. The beginning of this film, because like I said, it was very amateurishly shot, and the film was shot with long lenses because they didn't have a permit to shoot. When there's a scene where our lead is singing and playing, and his bag gets robbed, in the film, that while the actor who grabbed his bag was running away, gets kneed in the groin by someone, because they thought his stuff was being stolen, because they thought that the main character's stuff was being stolen. And that is the reason why I guess you should film with a film permit. People always wonder, like, I don't need a film permit. Well, that's the reason why you need a film permit, because you may not know who's filming. You don't know if people are being filmed. That's why you need to put things up, and you need to have standards so that people don't get kicked in the nuts. The lead role, believe it or not, was supposed to go to Cillian Murphy. If you don't know who Cillian Murphy is, he was the guy that was in the film Red Eye, the main villain. He was also the guy who played Scarecrow in the Dark Knight series. So he was actually supposed to be our main character, but he, believe it or not, maybe he's a little bit of a jerk for it, but he didn't feel that he should be working opposite of a non-professional. Marketa, who was 17 at the time, believe it or not, I couldn't believe it. she can sing and she can play, but he didn't think that she can act. If you ask me, she was just fine in this film, you know. And Glenn Hansard, who was actually the guy that wrote all the music for this film, you know, the director just say, fuck it. Why don't you just be in the film? Why don't you play our character of Guy? He hesitated at first, but then he said, fuck it. And one of the brilliant parts is that all the music he wrote for the film, he got to sing and play on film. So that's a little bit of maybe that was supposed to happen. Maybe that's a good part and a good thing about this film for it. So congrats to him. But the problem is that one of the reasons why this film was not shot professionally was because when Cillian Murphy was asked to do it, he said yes, but then turned it down. So did the money for the film. So there was no support for it. You know, that's why the film is the way that it is. And in a way, it's kind of like how why Clerks is in black and white, you know, because you only have so much to work with, you know. So what's cool is that the flashback scene, the guy that plays Guy's girlfriend that he's talking about, that's actually John Carney's girlfriend, or at least at the time it was. And lastly, but shortly but not least, is that, believe it or not, that this small independent film was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song. For anyone that thinks that the Oscars are bullshit and the Oscars are this and that, and you got negative things to say, this is what happens when you don't watch as many films that I do, and then you realize that the Oscars are made sometimes for people like this and for films like this. For the song Falling Slowly, which is a fucking good song, was nominated for Best Song, and it won. Okay? So there you go. So, ladies and gents, that was our show. Now, if you have any comments, if you please like and share, follow us on Facebook.com/WhatTheHellPcast, Twitter.com/TheHellPcast, Instagram.com/WhatTheHellPcast. You can also look at us on SoundCloud, on YouTube, Podbean, Podbase, Stitcher Radio, Podcast One. You can listen to us on any one of any favorite podcast feeds. If I'm not on there, just let me know. Email me. Let me know. Put it in the comments where you would like for this podcast to be. Okay? So this is Lumotional Lou with the film Once, and I just got one thing to say. It's been Lumotional.